What is going on, y'all? Tech me out here, and today, oh my gosh, I have not done one of these types of videos in forever, and that is a desk tour. And for me, I don't know, I love a very kind of clean, minimal like setup. I used to be the type that would boggle my desk down with a bunch of stuff that I thought I needed, but I found out simplicity is better. That's just a little reference on how I staged mine, but I'm super excited to show you what I currently have set up on my desk, because I feel like not only is a good room setup vital, but the setup that you're actually working at is just as important. So the very first item, it actually comes from the sponsor of today's video, because Logitech, thank you. So Logitech was kind enough to send out some items to adorn my desk with that I have thoroughly been enjoying. I've always honestly used their products from my keyboard to my mouse. So for my mouse, what I am using is the Logitech Lift. Now this right here is so different. It's a different form factor. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, when I first saw it, I questioned if I was gonna enjoy using it because it didn't look like it was gonna be comfortable. But it wasn't until I laid my hand up here and actually let it rest, and it was just super ergonomic overall. So the unique thing that I really like that Logitech offers are a couple of things, and one of those being the option to actually configure these buttons from within the app. So if you download Logitech Options Plus, you can customize not only what these buttons do, but also what they do per app. Let me paint a picture, y'all. So what I like to do is basically use these side keys only within Final Cut to zoom in and out. But everywhere else, this acts as, I wanna say, redo and undo. That's a game changer. But I could also make them be like the blade tool within Final Cut, or other things that I commonly do that this might be the better option to use versus a keyboard shortcut or something. You also have the option to configure this button here, this little circle. So what I've made mine do within Final Cut in specific is zoom out to the full frame or to my full timeline. So those little three things, they sound small, but when it comes to your workflow and things that you want to access a little bit more readily from the mouse that you're actually using instead of your keyboard, it pretty much helps speed up time. It makes that workflow better. So I love this mouse. And on top of that, we have the option to switch between 3 different devices. So I like that because I am the type that's between different computers from Windows to Mac. So I could just use this on all of them. In terms of power, this actually runs off a AA battery. I wanna say 1, might be 2. But you get 24 months of battery life. And at first when I found out that this actually ran off a AA, I was a little disappointed until I discovered the battery life is, to me, much longer than it would have been if I were to charge it. But if you cannot tell, I really like this mouse a lot. Don't be intimidated or weirded out by the form factor as I was, because this is actually just fine as it is. Actually, probably even better than my MX Master, dare I say. Let's move on to the left of this, which is the keyboard. This is the Logitech Pop Keys. So I'm not really a mechanical keyboard type chick. This has been a learning curve, but one that I welcomed because it's just, I don't know, it's a nostalgic factor in hearing the... I love that. I cannot get enough of it, but I will say that in comparison to typing to a keyboard that's more flushed and quieter, I feel the keys more. It's good and a bad thing. Sometimes it might affect my speed. So on the keyboard, there are a couple of cool things that you can do. You have a dedicated escape key. You also can switch between devices just as you can with the mouse. There are other shortcut keys here as well to like get to your desktop, mute your mic, adjust media controls. You can custom configure these as well, just in case you don't want those to behave in that way. But the unique thing though that I personally have never seen on a keyboard are the emojis. I'm an emoji girl, so I'm the type that I'm sending these all the time. So to have dedicated keys that I just press and that emoji appears is like chef's kiss. And if I wanted to, I can actually change them out and customize them from within the app to be a totally different emoji. So if instead I'd rather use like a flower or something, I can make it be that when I press that, even though it's showing crying eyes. Or it can be a whole nother shortcut that does something entirely different in itself. But thankfully, they do actually include at least 4 keycaps that you can change out, and one of them happened to be the emoji that I want it to be, which is hard. So I'm gonna take the crying eyes. I hope I'm doing this right because I did not read a manual. And then take this and pop it in. Boom, as simple as that. I've changed it. Now the color combo that I have is like this teal color with purple and yellow, but they do offer 2 other variations of color combos, but ultimately I love these. Like I said, I was using Logitech for years prior to this, so we just changed it up a little bit. Moving to the left here, the next thing I have is my Sony a7S III. So this is my camera of choice and is pretty much at the ready in case I need to film anything on the fly, because I do sometimes get B-roll from within here and at this very desk because the lights and the setup, it just looks good on camera. But ultimately, I'll say most of the videos up here are filmed with this. Now, moving above that, I have my Dell monitor. I think this monitor captures the eyes of everybody that enters this room because it is just like, oh, it is so large. This is a 49-inch widescreen monitor. And y'all, I've really tried to use non-widescreen monitors, but or ultra-wide monitors, I think is the technical term potentially for this. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is I've used monitors that were more boxy. And for me and what I wanted to do, it just didn't work. I love being able to go into something like Final Cut and boom, whole timeline on my screen, and I just have so much room to play with. Or if I want it, I even have it set so that I can come in here and boom, 3 full screen windows up at once. That never gets old. I had a 34-inch monitor before this and I thought this was gonna be too much, but it's actually been just enough. So thus far, I will say I have been pleased with this. The only hiccup, sometimes when I connect it to my MacBook, it doesn't auto wake. So by that I mean like I have to unplug the monitor, plug it back in type deal, because I don't see a picture up here. But beneath that, you know, my little setup in progress is a Dell speaker. So this doesn't have built-in speakers, so you will need an external one. And when I bought this speaker right here, I thought it like snapped in the bottom, but it doesn't. So your girl got creative, and what I did was I Velcroed it to the bottom of the monitor, and that's been a temp solution for a long time. I like the sound quality. I know you might be saying I could have desktop speakers, but I don't want a lot on my desk. Now, moving our eyes upward, what we have is the Stream Cam. And this is by Logitech, and I love this, y'all, because like I mentioned, I dock my MacBook, okay? So like, I don't wanna have to undock it just to simply use the webcam. This is 1080p, it looks phenomenal. It has auto framing, auto focusing. So that means as I'm moving, it'll actually adjust and keep me in frame, whether I move closer to the camera or further away from the camera. Now, there are no physical buttons on it, but I like it. The quality looks great. And I'm gonna tell you, the combo to get is to get it with this light. So this here is the Litra Glow, and it's basically a soft light. So you know, sometimes, especially when you're on a video call, you might want to add some more lighting into the room. This is what you need. You wanna put a light that diffuses light softly onto your face so that it gives you a glow versus looking like someone shining a harsh flashlight on your face and interrogating you type deal. You want this, y'all. So on this, I don't even want to move it, but I will for you. So on this here, it connects via USB-C. This does as well. I don't think I mentioned that. So that connects via USB-C. So in terms of your buttons, you have your power button here. And as you can see, hopefully there on camera, that it's on. And you can use this right here to adjust the brightness, turn that down, come over here to the right and actually adjust the color temperature. So you can have a cool look or a warm look, y'all. You don't just get a light that helps illuminate your face, but you also can adjust your skin tone a little bit by using that color temperature thing that I just showed you. Now for me, when it comes to my workflow, I like to use the 14-inch MacBook Pro. Pretty much spec'd mine out. The only thing I didn't upgrade all the way was the storage. I think I'm at 4 terabytes because I like to edit off of the internal drive. I don't like to have to worry about external drives and all of that. Simple. That's what we're working on, okay? I like to edit off that 14-inch M1 MacBook Pro. And this right here is enough for me to get through everything that I need. To the right of it, I have a CalDigit, which acts as my hub so that I can dock my SD card in there or within my MacBooks. So the cool thing there is then that I can empty 2 SD cards at once if I want it. But in addition to that, the CalDigit serves as a central hub to connect other peripherals that I don't currently have the connections to, or maybe have the connections to that just aren't as accessible. Then here behind the monitor, what's giving this floating effect is the monitor stand that I'm using, which is from Ergotron. Now the model name escapes me right now, but I got you covered down in the description. But I love this because it just comes out like, sometimes I find I'm leaning, and when I find that I'm leaning too much forward, I like to remind myself to sit up straight, pull this back to me because the reason I'm leaning is that this is not close enough. Now, down here on the other end, now this desk is pretty wide. It comes from Fully, and I wanna say this is their 72-inch option. Fully makes some awesome desks, man. And you can customize them to kind of better fit what you need in terms of adding wheels and things like that. And it's an adjustable desk, so it can raise up and lower. You can control it over here from the right-hand side with these touch-sensitive buttons. And if you find that you have your favorite heights, you can actually come over here to one of these 3 numbers and program it in, pretty much like you would a favorite radio station in your car type deal, so that it automatically adjusts to that height when you press that button, which I personally like to use for having it set for when I sit and pressing it and having it automatically adjust to a certain height when I stand. That way you don't have to manually do it all the time. This is kind of where I guess you could say I have a little bit of my distractions, which is why they are on this end versus that end. So this is where I let my phones charge. I am the type that uses both iOS and Android. Do not judge me. This is a safe place for us, okay? If you are in the same boat, let me know down below in the comment section whether that means you're using those devices together now or if you're the type that likes to jump between. I want to know who's on my team out there. But I have the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. This is what I use as my work phone. And then for my personal phone, I am using the iPhone mini. If you've been following the channel, then you know I've been an iPhone 13 Pro girl. But now I'm on the mini and I like it. But if you want to know more about my experience, let me know and I'll work on a video and let you know how my experience has been in switching. Because I have my concerns, one being the battery, but so far, so good. Now beneath that, I do have a MagSafe wireless charger. This is where not only can I charge my iPhone 13 mini, but I can also charge my Galaxy S22 Ultra. This will magnetically snap into place. It's pretty secure. Whereas this, you gotta like pretty much fine tune it, finagle it a little bit more, but it'll charge. And then behind that, what I have is my smart speaker. So I'm using the Google Nest Hub here. I love this thing, y'all. I actually did a smart speaker battle that I filmed with Cam. It was a Tech Tea episode. I'll link that somewhere for you to check out so that you can learn more about it. But ultimately, this thing is it's super nice to be able to have a screen to control your smart tech and also just see other options that you wouldn't ordinarily have access to unless you had your phone on you when you're working with a smart assistant. I just pretty much like to use this to control like my thermostat, have a little visual aid up here, a little light work. Sometimes it just serves more as decor than actual function. But to the right of that, I have a plant. That's just to add a little bit of, like greenery, plant life up here. It's plastic, but still. I don't do real plants, don't judge. I want to. Anyway, focus. Lastly, up here, I have my Blue Yeti X, but this is what I like to use to record my external audio. The sound quality is phenomenal. Like, I was using this mic before they came out with the newer versions. I was using like the older versions or the older color options, so to speak. It's such good quality for the price, and it's a plug and play, so you literally just plug it in and you don't have to set anything up. On the front, you have the option to mute the mic, and then along the back, you can switch between different voice patterns in terms of cardioid or omni or stereo, so that I can focus on grabbing the audio from a specific direction. But outside of that, it connects through micro USB. That's everything, y'all, on my desk. So minus the sticky notes, but you don't have to talk about that. But I do hope you all enjoyed it. This is currently my setup. Knowing me, it can very well change. So stay tuned, as I do want to do more videos, not only just going through my desk tour, but different room tours as well. But if you're curious when another video is going to drop, feel free to check me out on Instagram at techmeout, TECHME0UT. But until the next one, y'all, as always, thanks for taking the time out to let me tech you out.